All right. Hello, everybody. Another Instagram fail today, but that is okay because we are live on Zoom, we're live on Facebook, we're live in your life, and I am always so happy to be here with you. It is Wellness Wednesday, so if you forgot what day it is because we were off on Monday, it's Wednesday. I am Lauren Baptiste, and I'm really excited to be here with you today. We are going through the final chapter of Women's Health Month, and it is all about menopause. Now, before you click off because you say this doesn't apply to you, it does. And so, whether you're a guy here checking in for a loved one, a spouse, a partner, a friend, a sister, a mother, right? Whether you're a woman who's in her 20s feeling like this doesn't relate to me, whether you're a woman in your 50s saying, I've been there and I've done that, I have something to share for you today. And so this is where it begins. Listen up because we have a lot of juicy facts and information to share with you. Before we go any further, let me introduce myself. My name is Lauren Baptiste, and I am a stress coach for individuals in accounting, law, finance, corporate world, because there's a lot of stress there, and we need some support to break through that. And so what I do is I work with individuals and organizations to help break through the effects of stress so that you can thrive. And that has a lot of meanings. What does thriving mean to you? Maybe it's great health. Maybe it's that next promotion. Maybe it's being the family person. Maybe it's being able to show up and do the art that you love to do on the weekends, right? Whatever it is, that thing that you love to do, you're here to do it. And it's my mission to give you the tools to thrive through it all. So before we get started in our last topic of Women's Health Month, always, as I always mention, feel free to write your questions in the chat. Feel free to reach out to me before and after. Share this with a woman who needs to hear this, because this message we're talking about today applies to everyone. Menopause is a really important topic that we often don't talk about until it's too late. Now, whether or not, ready or not, one thing I want to share with you is that menopause can start as early as 35. So if you're someone who's in your 30s and you're like, menopause doesn't apply to me, I haven't even had kids yet, whatever that might be, keep in mind that the way that you are behaving in your life now will create your menopause story. And what I always say to women, depending, even if they're in their 40s or late 40s, early 50s, and they haven't yet experienced menopause, but they're feeling like it's too late for me, it's never too late for you. And that's the beauty of Ayurveda. That's the beauty of the work that I do, is it's never to feel bad about where we were or the decisions we've made, but it's the things, the small, tiny things that we could take one step forward, one step closer, one step to feeling better. Now, in the lens of Ayurveda, we talk about menopause for women as that shift and transition from the fiery phase of your life, that pitta phase of your life, to the vata phase of life, the more cold, dry, brittle phase of your life. And so as we shift into our wisdom years, it's not just a shift of period or no period. We change in our mental state. We change in our physical bodies. We know this if you compare a 40-year-old with a 70-year-old, right? There's a difference in the body of that woman, and what she needs is very different too. And so we're going to really focus today on that transition point, because if we can really get comfortable with that place, then what we can do is start to figure out what we need to feel great. Now, if you're like, okay, well, what do you mean by premenopause and 35? If you're experiencing anything like hot flashes, hot menstrual cycles, weight gain, hormonal weight gain, hair loss, bone loss, irritability, dryness, these are some of the many symptoms that relate to menopause. So it's really important that even if you're in your 30s, a lot of women are looking to have children in their later years. And this is why Ayurveda says it so beautifully, because when we're starting to shift from this point of 35, we're starting to lose some of the fire in our life. So for a lot of women, this is where you really want to get to your peak career or peak point if you can at this point, because you're going to want to start to shift so that you can have a vital next phase. And so Jane Fonda had a beautiful TED talk that was all about the third chapter, that final piece. And I love that. And it's really just continuing to echo that sentiment of shifting to the Vata stage of life, the wisdom years. So wherever you are, if you're experiencing these things, I just want to say we're going to talk about ways to address the more fiery symptoms. We're going to address the more cooler air-like symptoms. So hang out here because there is some really juicy info for you. And so one thing that I want to reiterate is take charge now. Things are only likely to get worse if we don't address menopause until we're going through menopause. I can promise you, if you prepare for this, you will have a better menopause story. And it's really beautiful, even if we are starting 6 months before, when we're starting to feel our cycles start to spread out or not as much blood or whatever that might be, right? We start to shift. So it's really important to think about this. Ladies who are also going through hysterectomies or had them, you automatically went from your fire to your air stage in a really drastic and potentially traumatic way to the body. So you want to be really mindful of what you're doing now, past into that final phase of your beautiful life. So, all right, we're talking about why this happens. It's happening because we're transitioning from fire to air. It's happening because maybe the things that we've done that have led us to this moment haven't fully served us. And so they say specifically for women, this will happen when there's misuse or overuse of the mind, of the body, of the emotions, and of the senses. Oh man, right? I feel like I check the box for all of those because it's true, right? Living a high-paced, high-achieving, all day 24/7 type of job is gonna overuse my mind. It's gonna overuse my body. All of a sudden I'm gonna start to my body is really trying to protect itself, so it's starting to experience these symptoms because something is going on. So that is why it's happening. This is why it happened. Here's what we can do about it, right? That's what we want to know. Maybe whatever's happened in the past, but I want to know what can I do about it. So I'm here to support you through it. So generally, we're going to be experiencing two likely things: more of the fire symptoms or more of the air symptoms. So I mentioned that a little bit earlier, a few minutes ago, if you're just joining me now. But one thing to think about as you're going through is if you're experiencing some of the fiery sides of menopause or pre-menopause, you want to think about the things that you could do that calm the fire. If you're thinking about the things that are more air related, and we'll get there, so don't worry if you're like, what are you talking about? You're going to want to think about ways that you can ground that air. So let's dive right in. So here are some hot symptoms, right? Hot flashes, night sweats, irritability, red, really, really red, hot menstrual blood, hot temper, emotional temper, right? It's not just in the body, it's in the mind as well. So if you notice a lot of sharpness, heat, just a lot of that type of fire, what you want to do is invite lifestyle and dietary things that help calm the fire, right? We don't want to remove the fire altogether, but we don't want to burn the house down, right? We want to manage our fire. And so foods that we want to avoid, you would imagine these are fiery foods that you do not want to have if you're experiencing fiery symptoms: chilies, cayenne pepper, black mustard seed, and foods that are super salty, sour. Something like even yogurt is really sour and has a really hot, sharp quality, even if unless it's diluted, right? And then we could talk about that. But all of those foods bring so much heat. Imagine the heat of transitioning, plus the heat of summer, plus the heat of chili peppers, right? So this is what we want to do. If you're experiencing some of those symptoms, you want to invite things that are going to cool you down. Spices such as cinnamon, cardamom, coriander, fennel, or maybe even a little bit of cumin seed. These things you can bring into your life to start to feel a little bit more cool. Think about what you would invite in the summer. Juicy watermelon, cold or cool water, lemonade or limeade, even cooler than lemonade is limeade, aloe, coconut, things that are just really cooling that can help us. But a lot of times in the summer, we're eating things like mustard and ketchup and vinegar and these condiments that are really heat provoking. So if you're experiencing any of that hot stuff, think about what you're eating. Hot plus hot equals really hot. So what I want to invite is more cool to calm the hot. So we talked about some food stuff. We'll talk about a few lifestyle things as we're shifting into summer. Really beautiful time to take your shoes off and walk outside in the grass. Just imagine the coolness coming onto your feet. It's such a beautiful, cooling, nice thing, feeling the dew on your feet. I know some people message me, they hate walking in the grass. So there are other things you could do. Cold showers, right? In the summer, how refreshing is a cold shower? One thing you can even do if you're like, I don't even want to take a whole cold shower, just cool down your feet. If you can just put your feet in a bucket of water, ice water, whatever you can for a few minutes, you'll notice your tempers start to come down. Even that heat, if you're starting to get sweaty, put your feet in cold water, you'll start to cool down. It's really an awesome way. The best way to, get rid of a fire is to put water on it. Other things you can do is slow down, right? Whenever we fan a fire, feel a fire spreading, we need to contain it. So we need to contain ourselves. If I'm doing a million things and I'm about to blow my lid, literally with so much steam, I need to contain that. So there's a lot of breath work that I'm going to walk through after we talk about the air symptoms, because those will apply to everybody. So let me know if you have any fire questions, pitta questions. I hear you. I see you. Everybody here today, thank you so much for joining. All right, let's dive into some of those air-like symptoms of menopause. So here's a big one. Memory loss, right? I start to become more forgetful, dryness in the skin, vaginal dryness, any lightness in menstrual symptoms, or any types of rough, brittle nails, brittle bones, broken teeth, things that start to affect the body because of air, because of this shift from your fire stage to your air stage. So if you're someone who's experiencing more of the symptoms of air, what you want to do is invite a little bit more fire. So a lot of times, women will handle stress in different ways in their bodies. And it's not usually our choice. It's just how the body manifests it. But if you're feeling more of that dryness, that brittleness because of the transition from fire to air, then what you want to do is keep a little bit of that fire going. And the idea is so that you slowly transition out, as opposed to, I'm on boiling and now I'm on a simmer. You want to slowly take it down, right? That kind of makes sense. Like, why would I want to just remove all of the heat from my life? I still may have a career and a job, and I still may have all these things that I need to do. So if I'm experiencing a lot of that air, we add fire. So here's how we do it. And we want to be mindful of not cooking too much too fast. So I'm not going to say eat all the chili seeds, mustard seeds, all the hot stuff, but you want to bring warm, grounding foods, having a little bit of fat in that food, like a clarified butter or a ghee, maybe an olive oil, some vegetable oil, but not vegetable oil, right? So we're talking almond oil, safflower oil, healthy types of oils that are from vegetables, but we don't want to do canola oil. We don't want to do vegetable oil. We want really safe, natural oils. I'll do a whole session on why that's important, but for now, let's just take that as it is. Other things that we'll want to invite in are foods that are sweet, sour, and salty. These are the tastes that balance the air qualities. Some spices, to get really specific, that are great for vata or this air. Ginger's good for everyone and everything. Even pittas that are fired up can have some ginger. So that's awesome, but you just want to modify it for the fiery folks. But ginger, black pepper, fenugreek, nutmeg, cinnamon, and is also a great one. I know that also married with the fire that we talked about just a few minutes ago. So there are some overlaps. The idea is, especially for my vata friends out there, invite some spice into your life, invite some of that seasoning. All of it will be beneficial for vata. There's very few spices that are actually contraindicated for vatas. So start to enjoy some of that spice in your life. All right, activities and lifestyle tips that are going to be good for my air friends as you're shifting out. The biggest one I can say is slow down. This can be really hard because we are just on a roll when we're at 35. We are pushing for our careers into 40. We are getting to our board seats and our leadership tables and all of this other awesome stuff, but it needs to be balanced. It really needs to be in balance. It needs to be slower. It needs to be as part of your life, not your entire life, because you will then start to feel the effects of too much, too fast. Too much is not good. So we want that beautiful balance. So areas where you can slow down, going for slow walks outside, really feeling the heel of the foot, the toes of the foot on each step connect with the earth. So often my vata clients are like barely even touching the ground as they walk. They're essentially like walking so fast that they're floating past. So slowness is a really beautiful quality you'll want to invite in this time in your life. And if you are someone who has all these accomplishments, really figuring out, or I should say accomplishments and or aspirations, figuring out how you can invite more slowness. Maybe it's a morning routine that's just for you, that's just for filling your reservoir with love. Maybe it's doing some breath work. I leave that to you to find more slowness, but that's going to be your point to really thriving with vata in menopause. All right, 2 things, and then we are ready to roll that I want to share with you. So these 2 things apply to every woman going through menopause. It doesn't matter if you're experiencing the hot or the cold or this or that. 2 things that are really beautiful. One is a breathwork exercise. One is going to be some more Z's. So let's talk about the breathwork exercise. We've been through this before. I call it Nadi Shodhana. It's also called Anuloma Viloma. It's essentially alternate nostril breathing. Anuloma Viloma essentially means expelling all of the garbage through the way that your hair grows. That's what it means in Sanskrit. So if your hair on your arm kind of grows in that direction, it's expelling it in the way that comes out through the nostrils. So I thought that's a really cool fun fact. So I'm not going to do the whole practice now. You can go to akalowellness.com and I show it in all of my videos, but essentially it's breathing in, starting through your left nostril, exhaling out the right, inhaling the right, exhaling out the left. That's one cycle. Do that for 15 minutes. It sounds like a lot. If you can start with 5 minutes, work your way up to it. Do it while you're watching TV, do it while you're on the train. You could do it in a peaceful meditative pose. It doesn't matter, but do it, especially if you're feeling the effects of menopause. This is one thing that is known. It has a ton of benefits. It is evidence-based and backed. Invite this into your life. This is free. You don't have to pay for it. Just breathe. Invite that time. It's so, so, so important. So Anuloma Viloma for everybody. Just handing that out because I love it so, so much. The second thing that is critical that I know some of my hardworking ladies out there are struggling from is getting enough sleep. Sleep is imperative. You cannot shortcut your sleep. You can do it for a little bit, but I promise you, you will feel the effects if you're not already from not having solid sleep. That means at least 6 hours. Each dosha, each person is different, but you can't really go less than 6 and not sacrifice something. So that is my minimum for each of you today. So we have talked about a lot, but the one message I want to get out there straight up is that it's time to do something now, no matter where you are in your menopause story. The things you do today, the actions you take right now are the ones that will tell the future. So that's it today. My name is Lauren Baptiste. I am so honored to share this wisdom with you that I've learned, that I put to practice, that is working for me, that is work for my clients. And it's just a blessing to be able to share it with you every week. I would love to stay in contact if you're experiencing something that's not serving you, if you're feeling the effects of fiery pitta menopause or vata, cold, dry, brittle bone menopause. I'm here for you. Let's talk it out. My email is lauren@akaloawellness.com. I am here every Wednesday to serve you in the best possible way. Next month, new topic. I will share it soon. But for now, just embrace all of the things we talked about this month. Embrace your femininity, embrace your cycle, embrace this story that's telling you so much about who you are. That's it. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, an awesome week ahead. Share this with someone you love who is going through this menstrual craziness. I hope I can serve them. I hope I can continue to serve you. Have a beautiful day. Talk to you soon. Bye. Thanks everybody for joining. Thank you, Ashley and Mary and Laura. Awesome having you all. See you soon.